Hey there, the folks at Maono sent over the PD500w hybrid wireless dynamic microphone. It's a mouthful, but it's got a lot going for it. So we'll start this off with a blind comparison between this mic and a couple of its direct competitors, the Shure SM7b and the Electrovoice RE20. And then we'll hop into some other details about what comes with it, what you can expect from it, and then finally my thoughts on the whole shebang, if it's worth it in the world of voiceover and audiobook narration. Let's get to it. Here's microphone 1. This is microphone 1. Equal distance, and this is the sound. And this is microphone 2. Microphone 2 is here. And microphone 3. This is microphone 3, and this is how she sounds. And back on microphone 1. One day when Christopher Robin and Winnie the Pooh and Piglet were all talking together, Christopher Robin finished the mouthful he was eating and said carelessly, "I saw a heffalump today, Piglet." One day when Christopher Robin and Winnie the Pooh and Piglet were all talking together, Christopher Robin finished the mouthful he was eating and said carelessly, "I saw a heffalump today, Piglet." One day when Christopher Robin and Winnie the Pooh and Piglet were all talking together, Christopher Robin finished the mouthful he was eating and said carelessly, "I saw a heffalump today, Piglet." And microphone 1, the RE20. Microphone 2, the Maono PD500w. Microphone 3, the Shure SM7b. Blind comparison done. Write down your thoughts before we get to mine at the end of the video. Let's talk about some of the features of the Maono specifically. If you're using this mic via hardline USB, the wireless USB-C connection, or with its internal recording option, then you can adjust different settings of the microphone using buttons on the body or with the microphone's Maono Link software, which we'll walk through in depth in a moment. But the different buttons on this microphone, this little band here, not only shows you the gain and which settings you're adjusting, but it's also the mute button. It's touch sensitive, and if I just give it a quick press, it turns red and shows me that I'm muted. One thing I like about that, it's a really small quality of life thing that I don't know was necessarily intentional, but a lot of USB mics will have a mute button that's a clunky click. And that clunky click will register on calls and stuff like that, or it has the chance to. And by making this just touch sensitive, it eliminates that possibility, which is kind of nice if you're using this for Zoom calls or something like that. The button right below it is the AI noise cancellation button. We'll toggle through the different settings there when we get to the software, but that's what this button does. And then the knob just below it is how you can adjust the microphone's gain as well as your headphone settings. You just give it a click, and if it's dark blue, that's the headphones, and if it's a lighter blue, that's the microphone's gain. And the light gets brighter or dimmer depending on how loud or quiet, correlative to the thing you're changing. Brighter, louder, more gain, darker, quieter. And so let's hop over to the software now and walk through the different settings. I've got my AC running right now, and so we can hear what it sounds like as this noise cancellation toggles through. So this is what it sounds like with no noise cancellation, and this is the room tone with that AC going in the back. And then if we turn this on, this is what the slight noise cancellation sounds like. So the room tone is markedly less if we turn it off again. Definitely a big difference. Now with any noise cancellation, it'll become more pronounced as we move up in degrees here, but it won't eliminate the sound of the noise while I'm talking necessarily, or if it does, it's going to be removing aspects of my voice as well. So it is a bit of a double-edged sword there, but it's very useful in a pinch, and particularly if you're using this in a setting where that sort of thing might be necessary, rather than if you have an ideal recording space. So this is slight. Let's click up to moderate. A pretty hefty jump up there. But you can kind of hear in my voice how things have shifted slightly still. And then if we bump up to aggressive, dead silent. But again, as I speak, you can hear just tinges of the AC. That's to be expected. That's how noise cancellation works in general. And I would really only use this if I were recording on a run and gun style type thing where I needed to record in a particularly loud setting and I didn't have many options. This would be really useful there, but it would be a little bit too much degrading of my audio for me to use on a regular basis. And then if we hit it one more time, we go to custom, where we can dictate a very specific setting of noise cancellation if we so choose. So let's turn this off. The microphone gain, we can adjust that ourselves. It also has this auto gain function. In my experience in testing, they may be updating the software to this, but the auto gain function was a little bit too wild for me. That could be just because I'm used to setting my own gain and I'm not accustomed to letting something else do that for me. But this was far too loud, generally speaking, for me and my recording needs. It would set the levels in ways I didn't like. So manual gain is fine. One small note on the meters over here. This may be something that I'm just not used to this interface. I'm used to other interfaces, but it was somewhat hard to set proper levels with these. They didn't seem terribly accurate relative to what I'm used to once again. So little tiny things that I feel pretty confident will be updated as time goes on, but just word for the wise as you're going in there. Now, compression and limiting, awesome features to have built into a mic. Any system that has that built in is a great time saver if you know how to use it correctly and well. And these two things do a really good job of making it simple, but also giving you the options to use it if you so choose in a more surgical way. So you can turn it on and just adjust it like this if you want. This is simply the threshold of the gain. But if you go into more, it gives you all the settings that you can tweak to get really specific about the type of compression you want to apply. The out-of-the-box settings are essentially perfect for human speech, with the exception of the threshold, which will depend on how you set your microphone in terms of its gain. But all of the other settings out of the box would be great for most people, particularly for spoken word, but a really great option. The limiter is less applicable for audiobook voiceover work, simply because we generally aren't trying to speed up the pipeline in that way. But for podcasts, things like that, that are really high volume, or for live recording situations, that's a great feature. So if you're doing a live stream, something like that, and you want to make sure that you're not clipping, that your audio stays listenable, that's a great thing to just have online. Then, similar to the other microphones from Maono, it's got these presets that are awesome. These are different EQs that you can apply to the thing that have different settings, but they do different specific sounds. I don't know what these each would apply to. I haven't messed around with them very much, but each of these settings would be fun to mess around with. And of course, the live stream, helpful if you're playing video games, things like that, and you want to make sure that specific space is carved out for the audio of the thing you're playing, something like that. Or you can make your own EQ settings here really, really in a very fine-tuned way. This is a great EQ to mess around with. So great fully featured software. The only thing that is kind of a hindrance is this is only applicable if you're using it for USB connection. So for high level audio production with audiobooks or voiceover, a lot of this would be rendered unusable, with the exception of maybe doing some auditions or more entry level audiobook work, something like that. In that case, I would opt almost all the time for using the XLR connection. Speaking of, let's hop over and do a comparison between those different settings. This is the raw audio for the first setting. No AC on, just straight into the DAW. And this is what it sounds like. And this is the second setting for the Maono. And this is the third connection setting for the Maono. How does this one sound? This is the fourth setting for the Maono. How does it sound? One day, when Christopher Robin and Winnie the Pooh and Piglet were all talking together, Christopher Robin finished the mouthful he was eating and said carelessly, "I saw a heffalump today, Piglet." One day, when Christopher Robin and Winnie the Pooh and Piglet were all talking together, Christopher Robin finished the mouthful he was eating and said carelessly, "I saw a heffalump today, Piglet." One day, when Christopher Robin and Winnie the Pooh and Piglet were all talking together, Christopher Robin finished the mouthful he was eating and said carelessly, "I saw a heffalump today, Piglet." One day, when Christopher Robin and Winnie the Pooh and Piglet were all talking together, Christopher Robin finished the mouthful he was eating and said carelessly, "I saw a heffalump today, Piglet." The first setting was hardline USB. The second setting was wireless. The third setting, XLR connection. And the fourth setting, internal recording. The question at hand, how does the Maono stack up against its two competitors, the SM7b and RE20 specifically in this case, and is it up to snuff for audiobook narration and voiceover work in general? With respect to the three mics, I don't think it's a question of which one sounds the best, which has the best audio quality. Cut, print, let's move on. I think it's more so a question of features and flexibility, particularly if you're considering the Maono. Reason being, the bang for your buck on this thing is crazy, particularly if you're somebody who wants really solid sound quality with a bunch of connectivity options and the long-term intent of really streamlining your workflow. What I mean by that specifically is with this being aimed at podcasters, live streamers, things like that in general and specifically, it has a lot of features that are slated for production and already built into it that help you go from raw recording to finished product and publishing really quickly. Some of them aren't out yet, but it's got like AI transcription features. It's got the AI noise cancellation. It's got all of the USB connectivity fixes that you can plug and play with the Maono Link software. All of that is going to help you go from recording to publishing really quickly with really high sound quality. It'll eliminate a lot of post-production stuff that you just don't have with the other two microphones. If you are strictly interested in audio quality, I do think that the other two microphones have an edge. If we're talking about what I hear specifically, they're just a bit cleaner. USB microphones or hybrid microphones like this, to my ear, tend to have a little bit of a electrical quality in terms of their sound. I don't know how else to describe it. To get specific about it, the RE20 has a bit of a condenser-like quality. It's my preference. It's a little bit more forward-leaning and has that clarity of sound that I really enjoy. If I'm looking for a darker microphone, the Maono or the SM7b both fit the bill in that regard. The SM7b is still a bit cleaner and has a little bit more low end to it. The Maono, its frequency response has a bit of a cut on the low end, which you can hear. But again, in terms of streamlining your workflow, that's going to cut out some post-production stuff that you would definitely have to fiddle with, particularly if you're a live streamer or podcaster in that respect. So that can be really, really beneficial, especially if you're planning on applying a lot of limiting and compression. That cut is going to be really helpful. And it's not significant. It's just relative to the other two, its low end is a little bit thinner. Now, to be fair, there is a high pass on the other two mics that does help cut the low end as well. So there you go. Now, in terms of is this good for audiobook narration and voiceover work? In general, my opinion on that is there are microphones that are at lower price points, namely the Rode NT1 and its progressive generations, that is going to have long timelines. People use that microphone specifically for their whole careers. This would be more of a specialty case if you're an audiobook narrator or aspiring audiobook narrator who doesn't have the best sound treatment in your space, you can't really afford the best sound treatment, and you want a low barrier to entry thing that you can upgrade as you go, meaning you can start USB with a less than ideally treated space and move up as time goes on and learn as you go. This may be a good option for you in that respect. Relative to the Rode NT1, you would need to spend a fair amount of time, energy, and resources building a good sound booth. That doesn't cost a lot of money, to be fair, but if you're really strapped, this is a great way to go, I think. By and large, as well, the USB sound on this thing, I was stunned by. I'm used to hearing USB mics and being like, yeah, that's a USB mic. I almost prefer the USB sound of this over its XLR sound, which is a new experience for me. Good on you, Maono. Speaking of, thanks to the folks at Maono for sending this over. I had a lot of fun going through this, putting it through its paces. And if this was helpful for you, let me know. They've given me a link in the description if you want to check this mic out. It is affiliate, so ta-da, but they've got no input on what I've said here and anything like that. Anyhow, hope this was helpful for you. Until the next one of these, be well, y'all. Toodles.